Okay, once again, very good afternoon. So here in this session, I'm going to introduce the new controller called Node MCU. Okay, so the most important IoT controller, the cheapest one and most widely used everywhere. It came very cheaper in price, so that's why we are preferring this one. So this is the board called ESP8266. The IC number of this particular board is ESP8266. This will be written over here, and so many different vendors will be manufacturing this particular controller. So one such controller will be shown here. So this model FC, and in all this Wi-Fi board, we will be getting a information that it is a Wi-Fi based. Okay, so this is the entire chip. Okay, so entire operation will be done with the help of this particular IC only. Only for the external world connection, it will be of this particular size. But actually, the IC will be only this much. Okay, it will be covered by a metal case, and inside which we will be having a millimeter square area only for the entire transistor manufacturing. Okay, so the entire IC will be manufactured in a few millimeter areas only, and to provide this particular metal connection only, this metal case will be of this particular size. Okay, so it is around 1 centimeter square area. So if you take the actual chip in terms of transistor, it will be around millimeter square area. Okay, so this is a physical dimension, and the name of this particular device will be Node MCU, NODE MCU. Okay, so you'll be you can able to make the things to think. So that is a objective of this particular board is. Okay, so we have introduced what is Internet of Things. Okay, so it is a network of physical objects with embedded electronics that will collect and exchange useful information called data. Okay, so we are going to organize things as a network. Okay, so it may be a physical object or electronics also, and we have to embed it with the electronics because the objects doesn't have a facility to interact with the internet. So we need an embedded system based upon some electronic softwares. Okay, and we have to collect and exchange the useful information as a data. Okay, so that's our Internet of Things. So as you can see here, the development boards available for our understanding. Okay, so for our electronics as well as for our IoT concept. Okay, the board which is first one shown is your Arduino. Okay, so we'll be having the Arduino board at the bottom, and above which we have to add an Arduino Ethernet shield. Then if you are combining these two, then it will become an IoT board. Okay, so as I said before, the IoT means to connect with the internet anyhow. Okay, so there are some sensors or without sensors also, we need to connect the object to the cloud. That's our ultimate aim. So definitely we need a connectivity protocol through which the device will get a internet connection. So for that, any one method will be used. So in the Arduino, it is a perfect controller. Okay, it is not a doubt in that. It will be having very powerful microcontroller in it. 16F series will be available, and that particular controller will do all those jobs whatever you wish to do for your Internet of Things concept. Okay, even more than that also it can work, but only drawback with that particular Arduino board is that it doesn't have a facility to interact with the internet. So what we need to do is we need to give a external interfacing boards to give a connectivity. Okay, so for example here Ethernet shield is given. Okay, so via the LAN port you can connect this Ethernet cable here, so you can get an internet connectivity for this particular Arduino board. Then it will become an IoT board. Okay, IoT controller. So similar way we can use our Raspberry Pi also. So many of you are aware, I hope. So it is a credit card sized computer, we can say. Okay, simply it is the size of a credit card. If you match exactly, it will be matching with your credit card. Okay, so that credit card sized computer will do a lot of things, as like your physical computer, personal computer or a desktop computer. It will do a lot of things except with a memory requirements. Okay, for example, in your physical computer, we may extend the memory up to 1 gigabytes range or more than that also. Okay, 1 terabyte range. Likewise, we can able to increase the memory value, but here only restriction is that the maximum capacity of your SD card. Okay, so we will be using SD card as a hard disk for this particular Raspberry Pi, and also RAM for this particular Raspberry Pi. So that is the only limitation, but other than that, it will do whatever the computer can do. For example, you can install an OS like Windows machine, you can install, or Linux machine you can install, or Android based machine you can install. Whatever you wish to install, that can be given to this particular Raspberry Pi. And very famous OS is Raspbian. Okay, so that is your Linux based version that could be installed in this particular computer, we can call it as. And this particular Raspberry Pi will have a lot of features to connect with the external world, like it has 4 USB slots to communicate with your keyboard, mouse, and if you have any HDMI cable, in the sense the monitor can be connected, and here is a power supply to provide power as well as data transfer. And also it will be having some inbuilt Wi-Fi connectivity. Okay, so and Bluetooth connectivity also it supports. So many features were there. So it is like your computer, okay, entire computer. So it is another one most widely used device for Internet of Things concept. Okay, and if you are building a particular home automation as a student point of view, or even in industrial point of view, if you do any home automations or any machinery monitoring things, in the sense, then for small kind of machineries, okay, you can able to do with the help of Raspberry Pi itself. Okay, and also it supports your camera. Okay, so what suppose if in a case you are going to interface with the a security camera, in the sense that could be directly connected up to 5 megapixel camera it can be connected with, or any other USB based camera also can be attached in this USB port, so that it can able to give you the data. Okay, and also it will be provided with Ethernet cable, so LAN cable you can connect it here, so that it will be get internet service. Okay, so a lot of features were available, but in the case of your Arduino, you should need this Ethernet shield. Okay, it is costlier than the board of your Arduino. And if you go with this Raspberry Pi, it will be costing around 3,000 for the basic version. Nowadays Raspberry Pi 4 will be famous, that will be costing around 5,000 to 5,500 rupees, and depending upon the SD card size it will vary, and depending upon your application you can choose the amount of SD card size. Okay, and even if you wish to communicate with the Bluetooth, then you can simply remove this Arduino shield. Okay, Ethernet shield you can remove it off, and with the Arduino you can connect with the one Bluetooth device. Okay, so Bluetooth transceiver, so that it will also be communicating with your mobile phone for internet service. Okay, so that is another one feature available with your Arduino board. And even you can add on the Wi-Fi transceiver with your Arduino via the RX and TX pin. You can able to connect with this particular board to the Wi-Fi, so that it will get a Wi-Fi signal from your gateway. Okay, so in that manner also we can able to give internet connectivity for this particular board. So this is all about your Arduino and the Raspberry Pi. Now we will look at more detail about your ESP device. Okay, so this is what the device I want to introduce today. So this is called ESP8266 12 series Node MCU. The name for this device is Node MCU, and so many versions came, but among that this 12 series is very famous. It is compact in size, and also it has a lot of future, right? And this particular board specialty is that it will have the Arduino inbuilt. Okay, for example, whatever the code you have done with your Arduino, the same can be used with this particular Node MCU board. That's a specialty. Okay, there is no need to code differently. Only thing is that you need to choose that particular board future. Okay, in your Arduino sketch programming, you have to choose the right board for implementing your code. But otherwise, the same sketch programming what you have done with the Arduino will be used here with your Node MCU. So that is a most important thing and most easiest thing. When you are practiced with your Arduino, we can able to do a lot of things with the Node MCU. So next one is Wi-Fi board future. Okay, So for example, the only inadequate thing in the Arduino is that internet connectivity. But here in this node MCU, you can see there is an Wi-Fi connectivity, there is an antenna like symbol. So this represents it can able to connect with the Wi-Fi. Okay, so whatever the routers you have, or your mobile phone hotspot, or even Raspberry Pi hotspot, communicate with this particular board. So that is a specialty here. And it will also have a reset button and then a flash button. So when you press onto this flash button, you can able to erase the previous content. Previously, if any program is stored inside this particular controller, in the sense that could be removed, and a reset button will be used to refresh. Okay, again it will start from the beginning. Once if you press that reset button, it will again set up your code, and it will come to the loop part. But if you are not pressing that reset button again and again, the loop part will be repeated, right? So it won't go for the setup part. Okay, so that's the difference between your reset. Okay, and next one is Wi-Fi module. So this is a miniature version of this particular same node MCU model. I can say this is the first version. Okay, so this is ESP826601 version. Okay, so this particular board is a 01 version, where it has only limited number of input output pins. So in the case of your node MCU, we have lot many GPIO pins that I'm going to show next slide. But here you will be having limited quantity, but you have a receiver and a transmitter section, and you will be having some GPIO pin, then power supply and a ground pin. So at the maximum, we can connect 4 devices, 4 input output devices with this particular ESP826601 board. Suppose if sometimes this particular Wi-Fi module alone can be connected with the Arduino board directly. Okay, so here you have RxTX, and here also we have RxTX pin. And if you communicate these two things, then automatically your Arduino will be getting a capability to interface with the your Wi-Fi router. Okay, so your gateway can be connected with your Arduino board itself. Okay, sometimes if you have only Arduino board, in the sense you could buy this particular Wi-Fi module alone. This is cost around 150 rupees. Okay, earlier, but now it may be slightly increased. Okay, so that board you can get. So it will be having the same kind of structure. So there will be some antennas were there to connect with the Wi-Fi. So this symbol represents the Wi-Fi connectivity. So you can make your Arduino board as a Wi-Fi board by connecting this particular ESP01 version module. You can make it as an Arduino board as an IoT board. Okay, so that is another one thing. And even if you use an ESP8266, you can have so many GPIO pins along with one analog pin. That is the only drawback here. But in the case of your Arduino, you will be having more analog pins. 6 analog pins will be available. Okay, so 0 to 5, A0 to A5, you will be having analog pins. So totally 6 analog sensors that you can connect with this particular Arduino board. But in the case of your node MCU, it is only 1 analog pin. But digital pin, you can have many number. Okay, so that I will be showing next. And this particular Wi-Fi module, ESP8266 Wi-Fi module, is also having your Arduino inbuilt. So that is a specialty. Okay, so as I said before, this metal case is just for your external world connectivity. It is not the size of your IC, but you see the actual IC size. So this is what. Okay, so this is what your actual IC size. So, and inside which you will be having some millimeter range of area to have your all those connectivities, all those sensors and circuitries. Okay, so that is how it will be working. So these are all powerful devices. Okay, and if you want to have it with have some industry standard board, in the sense, then you could use this particular Intel Edition board. Okay, so this will be this will be costlier, but it will be stable board. Okay, even this ESP8266 is also stable. In our college, in 2019, we have implemented that water monitoring project. So for the past 2 years, it was working good, and we never replaced any boards at all. Okay, so it is continuously giving the data to our local cloud. Okay, so we have developed our own cloud in our IoT laboratory, and inside our college, we have implemented so many real-time projects. So from that data will be posted into that particular cloud. Okay, so for that we are using this particular ESP8266 node MC board only. It was working fine. So in a real-time application also, still you can use this board because the reliability is good, but you have to get a right version. Okay, so there is a company called Amica, so they'll be giving you the good board, and that will be stable always. And some local companies also there, some clone versions also there, so you please be very careful when you are purchasing it. So all around 500 rupees range you can able to get this particular node MCU, and along with few sensors for your practicing. Once if this lockdown is over, you please order this particular node MCU and few sensors to you, so that you can able to do a lot of things. Okay, so in real-time implementation also you can do it in your home itself, so that way I'll be helping you. And these are all the additional boards where it will be used in IoT. So MicroPython, Particle Photon, and Wi-Fi board, and NB IoT board, and the AIR board also. And these boards were imported in quality, so we are not experienced with much about these boards, but this will still have a future to interact with the internet facility. Okay, so that is a thing. And in future we are trying to purchase this one because of the pandemic situation. The clearance was not done. Okay, so we are not getting all those boards as we want. And this is the pin diagram of the board which I have told earlier. So it is FC version, model vendor, and this is a Wi-Fi board. Here you can see there is a name called ESP8266. Okay, so that is how you can identify the node MCU. And they'll be given you with some 802.11. So this is the Wi-Fi version. Okay, IEEE standard version 802.11b. Even the Wi-Fi adapter what you are using for your computer or the PC can also be given with this particular number. Okay, so whenever you are finding this number, you can identify that particular board can be used for connecting the Wi-Fi. Okay, so 802.11b/G and something like that it will be written. And here you can see at the right side you will be having some connectivity, pin connectivity. Okay, so it is a DIP pin breadboard as well. And on the right side you can have the pin numberings like D0, D1, D2, D3, D4, and D5, 6, 7, 8. Up to this you will be having the GPIO pins. Okay, and sometimes this receiver and transmitter pin also be used as a GPIO pins. And if you see that GPIO numbering, it will be random in nature. Okay, so the first pin will be somewhere here, and second pin will be here, and 0th pin will be here, third pin will be here. So likewise, it will be randomly specified. So you will be getting a confusion whether it is first pin or second pin or third pin. So in that situation, what you can do is, instead of specifying with the GPIO number, you can go with this digital number. Okay, so because on the board it will be written like D0, D1, and D2. So easily you can mention in your code, as well as you can easily give the connectivity when there is no symboling is required, or when there is no this particular pin diagram is not available. Okay, so in that situation you can just number with D0, D1, D2, D3. So this one method to program your device. And another method is that you can simply put 16. So if the number 16 is mentioned, it is meaning that D0 pin will be connected. Okay, and if it is 5, then D1 pin. If it is 4, then D2 pin. Likewise also you can represent. So this particular method is similar to that of your Arduino method. So in Arduino, we used to represent the pin numbers with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 13. Okay, so 13 different pins were available. But in the case of this your node MCU, so maximum 8 to 10 pins will be acting like an GPIO pins. Sometimes you can also use this additional pins, ESD1 and ESD2. Sorry, SD1 and SD2. So this particular 2 pins can be acting like a GPIO pin also, pin number 9 and 10. But since it is an multiplexed pin, most widely you should avoid. Okay, so which particular pin that we can use as a input output, and which particular pin we should not use will be shown in this picture. Okay, so see here, this is the internal diagram. So GPIO means you can use that particular pin as a general purpose input or general purpose output. Okay, so if you are connecting any actuator device, that will be probably an output device, and if you are connecting any sensor, that will be probably acting like an input device. Okay, so where and all you can connect input, in the sense here it will be mentioned. So in the first table shows the best pin for the input devices. Okay, D1 pin you can use. So D1 will be the board numbering, and in the GPIO numbering will be just 5. Okay, so the both versions were mentioned here. So D2 means 4, D5, D6, D7. So D1, 2, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so these are all best for acting like an input. Suppose in a case if you use D0, SD2 or SD3 or RX, in the sense it will be working sometimes fine and sometimes it may not. Suppose if it is restarting or if it has any inbuilt reset, then it will work poor. Okay, so you try to avoid using these pins for input devices, but in a worst case, if you are giving, you ensure that this device will not affect the performance, overall performance. Say for example, you are connecting your TV with this pin, in the sense automatically even there is a reset occurs, your TV will started running. Okay, so that kind of problems will be there. But if you are using the above pins, it will be working fine. 1, 2, 5, 6 and 7, if you are using, that will be working fine. And similar fashion, you will be having the best pins for output. Okay, so D1, D2, 5, 6 and 7, again the same 5 pins will be best for output device as well. So, and if you use a D8 pin for your output device, then that will be slightly okay, but you need a failure, you will be getting some failure condition during the booting time. Okay, so you can see that there are some pins will be represented with the green color star. So it is meaning that during the booting time, that is when your device power is turned off and you are about to turn on, in the sense during that time it will be acting like an on pin. Okay, even though your condition is off inside the program, this particular this particular pin will be acting like an high state pin. Okay, it means that it will be in on state when it is booting. Okay, so during that time, as I said before, the TV or the fan or any refrigerator, whatever the device that you are communicating with, this particular D8 pin will be suddenly turned on, and it will be like a goods bangla. Okay, so that problem will be there. So you should be very careful when you are connecting such pins. And also you'll be having another one pin called blue color starred pins like D3, D4, transmitter pin. Okay, so this will occur, this will get a failure when it is pulled low. Okay, suppose you are making some input device to connect with this particular D4th pin, in the sense, and if that particular input device is giving a low signal to this particular pin, automatically it will make a boot failure. So so that problem is also there. So you have to avoid this particular D3, D4 and transmitter pin to be given with some low voltages. Okay, as like the high voltage for the D8 pin. And pins will be goes high on the boot, will be represented with this red in star. So such pins are D0 pin and D4th pin, D or RXTX, and your 9th pin and 10th pin. So by mistake, if you connect all these things, all these 5 pins to the light, in the sense when your Wi-Fi is turned off, or when you are about to restart your system, or when your power supply gone and again if the power supply is coming back, suddenly all the light will be turned on. Okay, all the light, fans, whatever you have it in your home will be turned on for a moment of time, and immediately it will go to off mode. So this problem will be there. So this will be going to the high mode in the during the booting time. Okay, so that problem will be there. So you have to be cautious about all these pin configurations while giving the connections. But the best case is, if you are connecting D1, D2, D5, 6 and 7, you don't worry about your performances. It will work always fine. Okay, so that is an important thing. And next one is, you can connect your serial peripheral devices. Okay, so for example, I2C buses will be there. That will be giving you an connectivity to the advanced sensors. For example, if you use your RFID card interfacing with this particular node MCU in the sense, then you are in need of this connectivity. So HCL, MOSI, HCS, and MOSI CS, MISOS clock and all. Okay, so these things will be also available in node MCU. So this is available in Arduino also, but it is multiplexed pin here. Okay, so this particular D5 fifth pin will be acting like a GPIO pin 14 as well as HS clock. Okay, so both the purpose we can use. This is called multiplexing. And also sometimes if you want to interact with the two different devices in serial mode in the sense, then you can use transmitter 0 and receiver 0, transmitter 1 and receiver 1. Likewise, we can interface with the two different pins also. Okay, two different devices also. Okay, and even the Arduino can be interfaced with this particular node MCU via this transmitter and receiver pin, so that whatever the data you are getting from the Arduino will be converted into a JSON format like structure, and that will be stored inside this particular node MCU. And then again you can connect few more sensors along with this node MCU and you can interact with the cloud. So likewise also we can extend your Arduino application with the help of this node MCU. So it supports with all versions. Okay, even with the Raspberry Pi it can easily connect with. Okay, so in the Raspberry Pi we will be having an Wi-Fi feature. So if you make a Raspberry Pi to act like a hotspot, then this board will be communicating with the Raspberry Pi and it will exchange the information. And also sometimes you can convert this particular board as a hotspot also, or a repeater. Okay, for example, you are having 5 different floors in your home, and you are going to give the internet connectivity for the room which is available in the ground floor, you assume. So there is no need to repeat Wi-Fi router in the first floor and the second floor or third floor or fourth floor. Okay, it is not required. There is no need to add a separate Wi-Fi router for each and every rooms. Okay, because this controller, okay, this particular controller will act like a repeater. If suppose if for one device, if you are giving an internet connectivity in the sense, by using this particular node MCU, you can make a hotspot. Okay, you can create an hotspot. From that hotspot, you can connect even hundreds of devices. Okay, so the ground floor device may give you the internet connectivity for the first floor, and first floor device again it will repeat that internet connectivity for the second floor. Likewise, we can repeat it for any number of devices. Okay, even if it is 100+ device, that can able to handle in parallel. So that is a most important speciality of this particular board. And suppose if you want to act like both, if you want to connect with the internet via some Wi-Fi router, and if you want to make it as a stationary hotspot, then both can be done at a time. Okay, so that is another one feature. And here is only one analog pin available. So this is how this is the only pin where you can connect analog sensor, and no other pins will be supporting that. Okay, and you will be having some red and black in color pins. So this will be ground pin, and the red color pin will be 3.3 voltage. For example, in your connection, if you are having some few sensors need some power supply, in the sense via this pin you can able to give that power supply to the sensor. Okay, for example, if you take node MCU along with your DHT11 temperature sensor in the sense, then for energizing the temperature sensor you are need to give ground power supply and 3.3 voltage. So there is no need to put another one adapter. Okay, simply you can get a power supply from these pins as itself. Okay, so such 3 different way you can get a connection in this particular node MC board. So here on the right side you will be finding 2 3.3 voltage and ground pins, and on the left side you will be having 1 3.3 voltage and a ground pin. And this VIN pin is a special pin where if you wish to power this particular node MCU via an external battery or any external adapter in the sense, then V input pin can be used. For example, 5 voltage mobile phone adapter can be directly connected with this particular V in pin and a ground pin. So maximum 5 voltage will be the operating for this particular ESP8266 board, and ground pin you have to connect. In a worse situation, suppose if you are not energizing this ESP board with VIN pin in the sense simply via the USB cable. Okay, whatever the mobile phone charger you are having in your home can be directly connected here, so that it will be getting energized. Okay, and in during that time, this VIN pin will be acting like an 5 voltage output pin. So as like this 3.3 voltage, some sensors may require 5 voltage. Say for example, ultrasonic sensor, if you take, it requires 5 voltage to operate. So in that situation, you can give a 5 voltage from this VIN pin. So even though it is a input pin, you can get a 5 voltage out of it. Okay. So the name Arduino, or the meaning for the name Arduino in Italian is strong friend. Okay, so it is strongly binded friend, and that is the reason why they have given this symbol and all. So this is very important. So if I hear, I forget, I see, I remember. If I do, I will understand. Okay, so this is the reason why we are asking you to practice. Okay, even though we are doing with this particular Node MCU board, in your home with the Arduino Sketch, you may practice and you try to do something with your Tinkercad whenever you find some idea. Okay, and these are all the basic things required for this particular tutorials or the training program. So you need a laptop for programming your device, and you need a USB cable. Of course, it can be your mobile phone charger. Okay, the normal mobile phone charger can be more than sufficient. And the adapter, suppose if you need to power your Arduino separately, you can use your adapter, or otherwise you can simply go with this your laptop USB port itself, or you can use your power bank also for energizing your Node MCU. And you need a Node MCU device and few LEDs and some jumper wires. Okay, so this is the basic requirements. And in a situation, if you want to interface with some sensors and actuators, you can use this DHT11 sensor for measuring the temperature, and this is your LDR, light dependent resistor, for identifying whether the light is available or not, and a GPS device. And the GPS device would be somewhat costlier, but you can limit with this the temperature sensor and the LDR, and with a few LEDs. So that's more than sufficient. Suppose if you have more money, or around 1,000 in the sense, then you can also go with this motor. Okay, so which will be acting like a actuator. Okay, so stepper motor or a servo motor you can purchase, and one OLED device also you can purchase. OLED is costlier, but in few applications, if you wish to display what is happening inside that particular code, you can use this OLED module. Okay, and the Arduino introduction already it was given, I hope. So I'm just going in a very faster manner. So this is the Arduino Sketch. So Sketch means it is a programming language, as like C, C++. For the case of your Arduino, the programming name is Sketch. So always at the top you can see there is a Sketch 1, 2, 3, 4, or Sketch with today's date and time. Likewise, we will be having the version. So Sketch is the programming name. And here it will be open source platform, so you can download it for free in the Arduino website itself. And you'll be programming this Arduino like this. So here you will be having two parts. One is setup and a loop part. So if you are going to choose any particular board, in the sense, you have to go to the tools menu and you will be finding the right board. So in this case, we are using the Arduino Uno. So we have to choose the board here. But in the advanced version, so this is Arduino version 1.6. Nowadays we have 1.13 and advanced, more than that also. Okay, so that will be having some different structuring. But anyhow, you have to go with the tools menu and the board subdivision. Okay. And here you have to select the right communication port in which your device is connected. So in this case, Arduino Uno is connected with the COM port, and you have to select these two, board as well as the port, to communicate with your controller. And these are all the menus available. So compiler menu, which will be required for checking whether the code is correct or not. Okay, error checking. And next one is uploading button, then new file button, open button. Okay, if you want to open your previous sketch, you can click onto this, and if you want to save, you can click onto the save button. And this is a serial monitor where you can find the output. Okay, so during the time where you don't have any sensors or the actuators to communicate with your Arduino, you can simply print the data whatever you wish in the serial monitor. Okay, so that will be an easy thing. You can analyze with this particular serial monitor, and this will be used for switching between the tabs. And here is a program editor window. Okay, so this is a programming space, and here in this console window you can get all those errors and the status of that particular program while uploading or checking the error. The errors will be listed here. While uploading, the status will be displayed here. So this is called console window. And your structure of the Arduino Uno code will be of two part. One is your setup part, and second one is your loop part. So in the setup part, it will be done only once. Okay, it will be run only once when you power up the device. Okay, when you restart a device or when you power up a device newly, then the setup portion will be run only once. And the code which is written inside the loop function will be repeated n number of times. Okay, until you are giving the power supply, or until you are pressing the reset button, or until some software reset is occur, it will be repeated continuously. Okay, so that is called a loop program. So there is no need to use your while loop or for loop inside this particular loop for repeating your code. Okay, it is automatically done. Even though you are putting any for loop, it will be again nested loop only. Okay, so this is how you have to connect your Node MCU onto the breadboard. Okay, so what will happen in the sense, if you are connecting somewhere here at the bottom or at the middle, in the sense, what will happen when you are connecting with the USB cable, you'll be getting a trouble. Okay, so you cannot insert the wires properly. So what you have to do is you just need to have a ESP8266 at the corner of your device. So it would be better for you to connect your USB cable. Okay, so that is the reason why we are always preferring this kind of connection. And also, while removing this ESP device from the breadboard, you have to be very careful. At a stretch at the top and bottom, you have to keep 2 fingers and you have to pull it out slowly. Okay, if you are pulling from the one side, in the sense, the other side pin will be tilted. Okay, and it may not be useful used in future. Okay, so it may damage your pin. Suppose if you are bending continuously, it may damage your pin. Breadboard is a board where you can plug and play all your electronic components. Okay, so say for example, if you want to connect 2 pins, in the sense, then via breadboard you can easily connect, but you can easily disconnect also, dismantle also. Avoid that. If you want to reuse your particular component again and again, you have to prefer this breadboard for connectivity. So since you are all in the first year and you are testing all those components, it is better that you have to go with this breadboard. And there you can find some vertical and horizontal slots inside this breadboard. So this horizontal line represents a single plot. Okay, single plate will be available behind. Okay, so if you open up the breadboard at the back side, you can see there is a vertical plate. So a single vertical plate with 25 slots may be used at the top and bottom. So this could be used for power supply. Okay, so we used to call it as power rail. Okay, meaning that 25 pins, you can 25 different devices can be powered with the same voltage. Okay, so if you are connecting here 5 voltage, in the sense, at the red pin, at the first pin, in the sense, then rest of the 24 pin will be acting like a repeater of that 5 voltage. Okay, so for different components, you can get up 5 voltage from here. Suppose if you need 3.3 voltage, that could be connected here, so that from these 24 pins we will be getting 3.3 voltage. And again, if you need another few more device, in the sense, at the bottom also you can give a tap. From the top to bottom we can give a tap, and we will be getting 3.3 voltage at the bottom also. So that is how we can connect n number of devices here. You can get a repetition of that particular pin, and the ground pin will be mostly common for all the connectivity. So it requires a lot of holes, right? So what you have to do is you just connect the controller ground pin to this particular black color line. Anywhere in this 25th hole you can insert, and the rest of the 24 pins will be acting like a repeater for that ground pin. Okay, whatever the device you wish, you can connect it here. And at the middle of the breadboard, these plates were kept in vertical like structure. Okay, so each line will be of a different plate. So first plate and second plate will never be connected. Okay, so if you want to give a parallel connection, you can use two different vertical lines, or if you want to connect to two pins in a single vertical line, you have to connect. Okay, say for example, in the first vertical line, if I am connecting 5 different components in the sense, then all those 5 components may be joined together, or those 5 components may be connected together. So likewise, the breadboard connections will be there. So, and also the upper side and the bottom side vertical lines were separated with a plastic like material. Okay, if there is a distance or a plastic like material, it is meaning that there is no connectivity between the upper side and the lower side, so that's why it is separate. Okay, so this is the portion 1, 2, 3 and 4 in the sense 2 and 3 is not connected, and also within the one first rail and a second rail will never be connected because you have a space. Okay, so that space meaning that it is not having any connectivity. So you remember there is a 4 different plates available at the top and 4 different plates available at the bottom in a horizontal manner, and at the middle you will be having n number of plates in the vertical manner. Okay, so you will be having vertical like pins. So if you want to join 2 pins, either you can give it here in this middle portion as a vertical line, or in the horizontal line. Okay, so then those 2 pins may be connected. So in future, when I'm giving it in the physical breadboard, I'll be showing you how it will be working. So with this, I'll close, and tomorrow we will see how does you are going to install the board for this particular Node MCU, because it is a most important thing, because by default the Arduino board will be available, but Node MCU board you have to install manually. Okay, so that is a requirement, and that class will be there. And next to that, I'll tell you how to code this particular Node MCU. Then we will be communicating with the cloud, the Blink app. Okay, so this is the reason why I haven't introduced that particular portion in the previous class. Again, you may think it of it may be like a theory like session, so that's why I have directly went with the cloud. Thank you so much.